You know what I do to thieves? Law hear about this.
You got your money.
I didn't steal that. It's a debt. Oh, damn it.
Can a man have some peace? You stay away from me! Can you go away?
Here. Yeah.
Hello? Please, I'm trapped.
Yeah.
Oh, mister, please, please help. Please. My legs all numb. Please hurry. Oh, yes. Yes, just lift as hard as you can. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You saved
Sure.
me. Oh, that was bad.
Okay. Sure.
I could have been stuck here and starved or eaten. Oh,
Yep.
poor, dumb animal. Oh. What'll I tell Mildred? Well, thank you.
You need a ride home, ma'am?
Oh, yes, mister, please. Thank you. Do you know Valentine? I live there.
No problem. Yep.
I don't normally travel this far alone, you know. I was off inquiring about a possible new line of work. I'd borrowed a friend's horse for the trip. See, my husband... Well, it's just me and my boy now, and it's hard to find work.
I'm sure it is.
A good opportunity. That's what I'm looking for. Not much work for a woman with a boy to raise. I won't work in no saloon, but I've got sharp eyes and quick hands. I was hoping to get a job working as a seamstress. A wealthy man said he'd pay me for the work.
Yeah. Sounds promising. Also doesn't sound real.
Oh, you may be right, I suppose. He said he'd provide room and board for me and for my child. He wanted to meet me first.
I'd be careful with offers like that, ma'am.
I can't afford to dismiss offers like these, even if they do seem... odd.
Well, just be careful is all I'm saying.
I may not have another opportunity like this. Now I'll have to pay Mildred back for her horse.
It sure sounds like you're in a hard position.
You finding me is the only good thing that's happened to me in a long while, sir. We're close now. Just a little further.
Slow down! What's your goddamn problem?
Morning. my youngest to Dr. Calloway's again. His favorite games seem to be the ones that
Stop tailing
That's
me.
how it is.
I ain't going anywhere interesting.
We're here. Thank you for all your help. You're a good man.
Glad I was able to help. You take care. Appreciate it. You be well.
Morning, friend.
Look out! Sorry, boy. Easy. Whoa. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Easy there.
Good morning, Arthur.
Always.
How did you get on, Herr Morgan?
Fine. Our accounts are up to date. Sad sacks, a lot of them.
Good, very good.
My pleasure.
Well, if it's pleasure you're after, there is one other. This farmer preacher fellow I met in Valentine, Mr. Downs.
The opinionated little do-gooder? Yeah, I know the one. I certainly know the type.
Thank you, Herr Morgan.
There's no need to thank me. Like you said, it's pleasure I'm after.
He's more slippery than he seems. I've tried being polite. Don't take any nonsense.
Nonsense? Me?
If he doesn't have the money, beat him.
Well, I usually do.
I know. I know.
Keep busy and stay out of the worst of trouble out there.
Bye, John.
Morning.
Gentlemen,
Shell of safety.
can I speak to the boy?
Arthur?
Hello, son. Your sister is very worried.
The boy has chosen a path, sir. The path to truth.
Well, I mean, his sister just wants to speak with him.
Arthur? I've chosen a path.
The boy has chosen a path. He's chosen safety. What path have you chosen, sir? So, do you have an answer?
I don't know about this nonsense. Let me speak to the boy.
Tut. Are you always this negative and antagonistic, sir?
I'm not a very cultured man. Forgive me, please.
I am a fool for my God and a happy one, sir. I bless you. What do I dream about? Who are my heroes?
You're a fool for everyone's God. You're a maniac. Now let me talk to the goddamn boy. Goddamn lunatic. You think I'm playing here?
Leave him alone! That's enough, Arthur!
Now, kid, come on. This is crap. You're better than this.
Better than what? Better than one in paradise?
Better than thinking these fools know a damn thing about paradise. Now let me take you home.
You're a sad man, Arthur. You're a real sad man.
Sure, but come home.
Not a chance! Leave me alone, Arthur! I didn't ask for your help!
Yep. Just stop. Stop and let's talk about this.
I was doing just fine by myself! Sorry!
Yeah.
Arthur! I didn't ask for your help!
For Christ's sakes, Jamie, just hold up a minute.
You pop up out of nowhere? Sorry!
They're just using you. Telling you what you want to hear.
What the hell do you know about it, Arthur?
Damn it, we gotta do this the hard way.
I don't have to answer to you!
Come on, you ain't stupid. You can see this is crazy.
You're the crazy one!
Come on, Jamie. Your sister's worried about you.
This is none of your damn business!
Little jackass.
Sorry, mister.
Just stop and let's talk about this. What are you gonna do, Jamie? Live the rest of your life in the mountains with those people?
They're my friends! If you don't leave me alone, I'll shoot you! I swear it!
What are you talking about? You ain't no killer.
You don't know who I am! Good God! Move! Move! What the hell? What the hell? Good Lord! Please, Arthur! I'm a man now. I found something. A calling.
You're just a kid. You're making a big mistake.
I'm not taking advice from you. You're an outlaw. You leave me alone. They're good people. I'm warning you, Arthur Morgan. Leave me alone.
Please, kid. Put that gun down.
I warn you, Arthur. I'm gonna... I don't want to live anymore.
Kid, just calm down.
Leave me alone.
Now calm down. Let's go see your sister.
Okay. Okay. I missed you, Arthur. Are you and Mary sweet on one another again?
Oh, no. That's all a long time ago, son.
Well, this wasn't how I thought today would turn out.
It's been a long time, Jamie Gillis. You were a kid last time I saw you. Didn't try to kill yourself.
You know, you taught me how to ride a horse.
Too well, apparently. Shalonia, though? Really? You'd fall for that?
They were very nice to me. They're decent.
I'm sure. Please tell me you didn't give them any money.
Of course I did. They rely on charitable donations.
Jesus, Jamie, come on.
I just wanted to believe that there might be something good coming my way one day. Guess that's dead in the water.
With the turtle.
Shut up. All Father kept telling me was, you won't amount to anything. You're not enough of a man. I had to get away. I couldn't take it anymore.
Forgive me, but your father's a bully and a coward. Don't listen to him.
Hey, don't talk about him like that.
What do you want me to say, Jamie? He's a good father? Nice man?
He won't be happy I saw you.
Please send him my worst regards.
The thing is, he's right. I'm not good at anything.
Come on, that ain't true. Tell me something you like.
Well,
Don't think too hard.
Apples, I guess.
Apples?
Yeah, I love apples.
Okay. I was thinking more along the lines of carpentry or horses or something, but... All right, go work in an orchard then.
By that token, you must really like shooting and robbing people.
I only like shooting young idiots who run away from me when I'm trying to help them.
Father told me what you do.
I'm sure he did.
Hey, are you still with Dutch and... what was his name? Hester?
Hosea. Yep, still the same, sort of.
And Annabelle and Bessie?
I'm afraid they're dead.
Shit. Maybe Mary did make the right choice.
No doubt. But none of it is anything like the nonsense you read in the newspapers. Here we are. She must be waiting inside.
Damn, this wind will not quit. Yep, eyes of water.
You're nervous about seeing her, aren't you?
Jamie! Jamie! Come home. Please, Father's been very sad.
Father wouldn't know sadness if it died in his bed. But I'll come home for you.
My boy. My sweet boy. Come on. Oh, Arthur. Thank you. Thank you.
It's good to see you, Mary.
And you, Arthur. And you. You're...
I feel like the luckiest man alive, and I feel like a fool. That woman confuses me and plays me for a fiddle like no one else alive. I trust I will not make a god-awful fool of myself once more, but somehow I imagine I shall.
Howdy.
Want to buy something? Next time.
Well, looky here. Maybe this is our man.
You a bounty hunter, mister?
Maybe. It depends.
Well, I know discuss the finer points of county law. Then I don't need to know much more than that. Till I got a reason to.
All right.
You smell that? This here's a livestock town, mister. Attracts delinquents and reprobates like flies. Now, I'm not a fellow to pass a quick judgment, but I've been around long enough to know you don't hire a saint to catch a sinner. You bring me what I need, and I'll pay you well, and I won't ask no questions.
So, what is it you need?
Why don't you have a look at that poster on the wall over there?
He's a low-down huckster. He's been poisoning folks with his miracle cure from here to Annesburg. Killed more than Landon Ricketts without even pulling a trigger. Gets some kind of sick satisfaction out of it.
The fella over at the saloon says he thought he saw him by the gorge straight north of here. You think you can bring him in? The money's good. I need him alive, though. I want to make sure the women he witted get compensated before he swings.
I'll see what I can do.
Well, good luck to you. And we need him alive. That's an important point.
Alive, I got it. Easy. Whoa, easy. What we got here? Are you Benedict Albright?
Oh, sir?
Huh. Kinda look like him. And I was told he'd be up here.
No, not me, sir.
It's because I want to buy some medicine. And I heard good things. I'll pay in gold if you could help me find him. It's just my mother's real sick.
Oh, well, if that's the case, if it's for a sick woman, I'd be happy to help. I'm a healer, you know? A medical man. Finest medicine in the state.
Game's over, mister. Put your hands up. I'm taking you in.
Taking me in? What for?
Apparently that stuff you're pushing is killing folk. There's a price on your head. I don't know. It ain't my business.
Come on, partner, that's crap. I'm a healer. I got an aura. I speak to spirits. I'm a scientist. Folks get real angry for no good reason. This is a mistake.
Keep your hands up, buddy. They only want you for questioning.
I have to insist that this is a mistake.
Don't be a fool.
Hold on. I'm slipping. Shit. Please. Oh, you saved me.
Now, come on, buddy. Let's make this easy.
What, you're taking me in?
It's just for questioning.
Oh, you saved my life.
Ain't we had enough drama?
I'd be better off jumping.
They expressly told me not to kill you.
Oh, this is about you.
Don't jump!
Or what? You can't shoot me, no!
Please.
I'll take my chance.
Come here!
Bye, friend!
Really do not like you.
Ah! Yeah.
Shit. I gotta cross. Swim to the edge. Okay now.
Who made you God, friend? Who made you judge?
I'm only in it for the money.
That's even worse.
I'm sure it does seem that way. All right, let's take you in. So, while I got you... Come on, girl. Yep. Throw it up.
What the hell?
Sir, I think I must be suffering from exposure. Suffer a little longer. I seem to keep blacking out. Sir. You do seem to keep blacking out. All right, let's go.
He don't understand anymore, and that's... Oh, my lord. I wasn't expecting you back so soon. Mrs. Calthorpe was just leaving.
Sure. Where you want him?
Cell in the back.
There's been some terrible mistake. I never did it. Any of it. I thought I told you to shut up, partner.
But I told you...
But nothing. Shut up. And, good luck. It's been real fun.
You ain't much of a man. You ask folks for forgiveness, you remember this, partner?
I've already forgotten. Now, sure, how much was you offering?
$50. Here.
Thank you. Madam.
Please, remember what I told you.
News here, Valentine.
Look out, mister.
Hey, mister.
You drunk?
What exactly is the matter with you?
All right, girl. Yeah.
Hold still! Pearson said he's short a little meat for the pie. Stop it! This ain't funny! Oh, I disagree! Now, why are you so afraid of a pair of gelding tongs? I thought you were the horse expert! All right, go on. It ain't like you've got balls anyways. Oh, hell's half acre. Oh, hearing him. Oh, my balls. Like that'd be enough.
Uncle.
Hello, Arthur. Arthur Morgan. Faring well, I hope.
Yeah. What you got going on?
Nothing much.
Well, do some goddamn work then.
Come on, don't start this.
Don't get your back up, I'm only kidding.
You're a strange one.
Mind if I warm myself here a minute, gentlemen? How you boys keeping? Well, I reckon we're on the turn now. Our luck's turning, we're going to be fine. I knew Dutch would have us right. I knew it. Never doubted him for a minute. Now,
Arthur.
Dutch? Miss O'Shea?
Well, feels like we are finally getting back on our feet.
You, find a buyer for them bonds we stole?
Not yet, but Jose is working on it.
When we heading west?
Soon? I don't know.
Feels like things have changed. The whole world's changed. But they don't want folk like us no more. We're being hunted.
We are smarter than them. Only the feeblest of men take jobs in the government.
I hope so.
Trust Dutch, Mr. Morgan. You have to.
They got Micah! Dutch! Arthur!
What's going on?
They got Micah. He's been arrested for murder. He was in Strawberry.
It's okay, son. Breathe.
They nearly lynched me. They got Micah and the sheriffs in Strawberry. And there's talk of hanging him.
Here's hoping.
Arthur.
What? The fool brought this on himself. You know my feelings about him, Dutch.
You think I can't see past his bluster to the heart inside? He is a fine man.
No, I ain't saving that fool.
I can't go. My face will be all over West Elizabeth. I am asking. He would do it for you.
I don't think he would, but fine, all right.
Arthur.
You okay, Lenny?
Yeah, of course I'm okay.
You don't seem okay.
You take that kid into town. Valentine, not Strawberry. Get him drunk. And Arthur, no crazy business.
I've given that up.
And you get Micah out of that jail.
Come on, son. I'll get to it, Dutch. Just can't drop everything. Good one, boy.
I rode as fast as I could, didn't stop for nothing.
Yeah, you look like you've been through it.
I'm beat. We finally get off that mountain, then this. Micah's got a crazy side, Arthur.
What were you boys doing? You're supposed to be scouting ahead for us.
I kept just some business to attend to, kid. You know how he is.
Yes, I do.
He was half soaked before we even got there. Then we ran into some fellas. One of them, Micah knew, drank some more. And this is supposed to be a dry town we're in, too.
Then he shoots one of them. I know how that goes.
Couldn't even tell you quite how. Happened like the strike of a match. The law was on us fast, too. They was ready to strangle me up there and then. But I got away, just about.
You're all right now. We'll take care of it.
So you're gonna go get him? I'll come with you. Slow down! What did you ride off for? So you were talking about something.
No, you leave it to me. For now, let's drink some. Forget about Micah.
It was drink that started all this.
We'll just have a couple. Settle you down, then head back, okay?
Okay.
Here we are.
Just one or two, right, Arthur?
Of course, just a drink. No big drama. Can we get a couple beers, please?
I don't want no trouble.
You'll get none from me. I was defending myself.
Tommy, he's...
He'll be fine. Here, have one for yourself.
Thank you.
Micah seemed to know a lot of people. That was the problem.
How you mean?
I mean, I done seen a lot of crazy stuff, but Micah...
A lot of crazy stuff.
Will you shut up?
Will you shut up?
Be quiet, buddy.
Oh, they're dullards. My lord. You men is dull.
Hey, leave this fool alone.
Leave the fool alone. People been leaving me alone for the last...
Listen, buddy. You're a charming fellow. One of the best. But me and the kid here, we're trying to talk business, so could you possibly leave us alone? No offense intended.
Ain't no pleasing some folk. Just trying to be friendly.
Oh. That's great, partner. Lenny, where are you? See that fella I was with?
Sorry, I don't know.
Can't find my friend. You know where he went?
Afraid I don't know.
Lenny, where are you? Hey, Lenny! You know which way my friend went?
Wouldn't know.
Lenny! Lenny? What are you doing, kid?
Hello, Arthur. You know what?
I don't know.
Man, why ain't you never married?
Lord have me. That's the thing, you see, because it... Lenny? Lenny! Get away from me! Now! Get in here, Lenny! Come on! Lenny, where are you at? Leave the kid alone, you goddamn animals!
Who do you think you're talking to?
Nobody. I'm talking to nobody.
What did you say?
What?
I said, what did you say?
Get lost, buddy.
Shut up, mister. Yeah, shut your mouth, mister.
Here's something trumped up at his street.
Lenny, where are you hiding now? Found you, Lenny.
How many have you had, pal?
Oh, Lenny! Lenny! You bastard! Lenny! Been looking all over for you, Lenny.
Do I look like a Lenny to you?
Lenny, my boy!
Lenny? Go away, you're drunk.
Damn it, Lenny, stop slumping off on me!
I'm Clyde. You got the wrong fella.
Lenny!
Lenny! What are you talking about?
There you are, Lenny.
Lenny? Maybe you should switch to water, my friend. Arthur! Arthur, what are you
You're a good friend to me, Arthur.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Not you again? Come here, drunken fool! You'll never take me alive!
You! Stop right now, you drunken fool! I said stop!
You'll never take me alive! Oh, you moron, Morgan. Oh, you moron. Not again. Oh. Damn. Never come. Yep.
Good morning.
Mister?
Move out the dang way.
Go away.
Oh, shit.
That sheriff and tumbleweed killed my brother. I'm gonna make him pay.
Sure.
Stop there a second, folks.
Hell no! Go on. No, please. Please, don't. Help!
Open the damn lock, or give me the damn key.
It's a stage company lockbox. We don't got... Mister, help!
Hey, shut up. Get out of here. Act like...
Mister, I don't hardly know what to say. Thanks, I guess. You've done me a service. Hey, look, the stage company's gonna write this off as a robbery anyway. If you can get in that lockbox, you can take what you want from it. But ain't stealing if it's already stolen.
Got that right. Giddy up.
How about I get to work on that ugly face?
Easy. You're okay. Easy now. Yeah.
Here, I took a little jaunt and have managed to get myself hopelessly lost. I am staying in Strawberry. If you could just...
Can't think of a good reason to say no.
Oh, thank you, sir. Shall I hop up there on the back with you?
Your legs work, don't they?
Well, yes, I suppose. It's just a little demeaning.
What are you doing out here anyway? It clearly ain't your natural habitat.
No, I'm just visiting. I'm from New York City, actually.
You don't say.
Oh, yes. There was some talk at the country club about this burgeoning little resort town called Strawberry. So I thought it might be quite the trip to see what all the fuss was. Perhaps make a few investments while it was still undervalued. Turns out I was made the fool.
Not enjoying it, then?
It's a town of splinters, if you could call it much of a town at all. I'd hardly stepped off the carriage and I'd taken in the whole place. I suppose some might call it charming. Let me tell you, charm is not worth much these days. You show me a timber frame shack and I'll show you Broadway. And meanwhile, you have this
mayor, a quite intolerable blowhard. A little bespoke woodwork, and he thinks this is a cultural hub? The man's completely deluded. Well, I should give him some credit. He must be quite the salesman. He did get me out here after all. More fool me. Now I'm tromping through the leaves in the muck with some cowboy. No offense.
Little taken.
Oh, yes. This does look familiar. Are we close to town? Sir, you've rescued me from the depths! You seem quite the resourceful sort, sir. If for some reason you plan to spend any time in Strawberry, you may want to look into that gabbing mayor. Something is definitely off with him.
All right. I'll keep that in mind. Yeah. New Yorkers. Jesus.
Looking to sell your wares or buy some of the finest meat to ever grace this town?
Line up, Strawberry.
Hello. Come on now, get moving, will you?
Doesn't seem like I've seen you before. Welcome. Now, if you really want to impress the mayor here, I'd pick up some grooming supplies for yourself and a couple of things by the door for your horse. You'll be turning heads.
Now, let's have a look.
All right. Sure. Good. Uh-huh. Business done. All right. Uh-huh. Deal.
That's it for now.
Apparently those Blackwater robbers are still on the loose. They got that whole town on lock.
Thanks, mister.
Arthur! Arthur!
Hello, old friend. Had a good time, did you?
You going to get me out of here?
I ain't decided yet.
Real funny.
Oh, I ain't joking, cowpoke. I heard so much bluster out of your mouth these last 6 months. And now, I got an opportunity to watch you be silenced.
Well, you gotta do something.
Why?
I always looked up to you, Arthur.
Well, that's your first mistake. Listen, there's one little problem. There's only one of me, and there's a whole town full of people wanting to see you swing.
You got to do something, Arthur. Maybe that steam donkey over there still works. Yes! Hook that over the bars. See if you can pull them off.
What a modern disaster this is gonna be.
Just pull that lever. Come on.
Let's get out of here, come on. What the hell are you doing?
He wasn't O'Driscoll.
Pick your bundle on!
Come on, Arthur! I'll bang down the lot of you.
Don't go that way. Let's get the hell out of here.
I got some unfinished business. Trust me, Morgan.
Trust you? You have finally lost your damn mind.
Let's get out of here. Keep moving, Arthur. Ah! We're in it now, Morgan. What do you want to do? Kill this whole town if I have to.
We should be long gone by
They got something of mine. I ain't leaving. Look out! We got more coming in.
Yep, I see him.
Who else wants to step up? Come on! Let's go!
Where are we going?
Making a house call. There's more of these.
We really should get out of here.
Calm yourself, woman. Like I said, I need to see some. Skinny! Get out here! Skinny! That sack of crap! Excuse me a minute, Arthur. Hello, Maddie. Did you miss me? They had something of mine. My guns. I showed him, and I'll show the rest of this town!
You have really lost it this time.
You're gonna wish you... You wait! Keep shooting! Don't give up on me now! Come on, this way! see me hang now? Come on, reckon. It's time we got out of here, Morgan. Now you want to get out of here? Shoot the devil out of those bastards! More riders! Ah, they just ain't giving up, are they? You ain't leaving here alive. Okay. Woo! Let's get out of here before we get any more on our tail.
Quick! Come on, let's get up there. Here's Charles.
All good?
Wouldn't go that far.
The camp's up this way. Come on.
I'll take the left side, Charles. You go right, okay?
I guess.
Let's take these, hijo de puta!
Goddamn army of these bastards. How much is Sean's bounty? Maybe we can do it ourselves. Still time.
Let's push forward! Look out! We got one shooting from the tower! Move up! Come on!
Let's go.
I don't believe it! There's more of them! That was close!
Look out left, on top of the cliff.
Look, they're running away! Cool me down! Okay. Let's get Sean. What are you doing, Arthur?
Hey, what are y'all doing? Arthur.
You know, you're a lot less ugly from that other angle, Arthur.
Come on.
Do we get a hug, Arthur? A warm embrace for a lost brother now found.
You know, nothing means more to me than this gang, the bond we share. It's the most real thing to me. I would kill for it, I would happily die for it. But in spite of all of that, I would have easily left you here to rot if Charles hadn't stopped me.
I don't believe a word of that, Arthur.
Get him out of here.
You're a great man, Arthur Morgan. The kind of young whippersnapper can really admire.
Oh, shut up. Right, we should split up. Javier, will you escort Mr. McGuire back to camp? Charles, best you ride separately. Be careful. There's patrols everywhere.
What about you?
I'm gonna see what's worth taking here. I'll meet you back there as soon as I can.
All right. Okay, come on. Have I got stories for you?
Yeah, I can't wait.
I imagine y'all missed me a lot, but fear not. The joy's back in your lives now.
We having a party?
Maybe. Just a little one.
Great.
What?
Mr. McGuire is back.
We're back home now.
So come on.
So everything's going to be okay. Uncle Sean is back. And don't you worry, Miss Grimshaw, you old crone. I'll keep them girls in line. If I have to whip them, I will. And don't you worry, Mr. Pearson, you drunk old shitbag. It'll be nothing but the finest game in the pot. Now, Deadeye McGuire's back. And don't worry about nothing, Mrs. Grimshaw. We'll have this camp running like clockwork. I love you, bastards. Have fun. Have lots of fun. Even you grumpy old bastard, Arthur.
Welcome back, Sean.
I owe you one, Arthur Morgan. The drinks are on me. Mind if I join you fine folks?
They always are when you ain't buying.
Lonely as ever, if I may say so.
Oh, stop.
Imagine riding with him all the way from Blackwater to here. Estúpido.
So, what now?
Come on. How about a song?
He'll be drinking till dawn now, I bet.
Oh, let him have some fun. He's been through a lot.
You know the Louisville
I thought you Irish enjoyed a party, Molly.
I just don't need to fall over drunk with the rest of them.
Mark well what I do say, and she was mistress of her trade.
It was diddle, diddle, diddle all the day. I put my hand upon her toe. Mark well what I do say. She says, yes, man, you're right low for the diddle, diddle, diddle all day.
I put my finger on her knee, Mark
Well,
well
what I do say.
She says, young man, you're rather free.
For diddle, diddle, diddle all the day.
I put
My arm around her waist. Mark well what I do say. She says, young man, you're really great. For the diddle, diddle, diddle all the day. I put my hand upon her thigh. Mark well what I do say. She says, you're getting pretty nice. For the diddle, diddle, diddle all day. I put my hand upon her ass. Mark well what I do say. She says, let's lay down on the grass and diddle, diddle, diddle all day.
And we diddle-diddle-did, too.
You're a group of fellas that spent every waking minute just...
Very nice. But how about something a little more civilized?
You bet.
That's good to be back. I even missed you. You old bastard.
And that's the most fellas.
Me and you. Never need one of those, Uncle.
Shay, dance with me.
And if you can tell the difference between...
I didn't think we was gonna see you again.
It'll take more than that to take down Sean McGuire. 100 bounty hunters there were.
Oh, is that right?
And that's all I'm saying.
Stop it, you.
Mr. Morgan. Morgan.
Reverend.
Hello.
Hello. What do you want?
I'm not quite sure. This keeps...
Feels like ages since we've done this.
Things are on the up again. Finally.
I sing a merry song, the wide, wide world I wander over. With a light, light heart I rove along. With a light, light heart I rove along. The wind roves free o'er hill and river, and the clouds roam free along the sky. Each little bird's a wild free rover, and a rover wild and free am I. Oh, I'm a wild free rover, I sing a merry song, the wide, wide world I wander over. With a light, light heart I rove along. With a light, light heart I rove along. The wind roams free, a wild song singing, and softly murmuring flows the stream. The bird roves free, its wild way winging, and I rove and sing with morn's first beam. Oh, I'm a wild free rover, I sing a merry song, the wide, wide world I wander over. With a light, light heart I roll along. With a light, light heart I rove along. The good earth loves a wild free rover, for a roving bird is never dumb. He sings to please the dear old mother, and she aye rewards him with a crumb. Oh, I'm a wild free rover, I sing a merry song, the wide, wide world I wander over, and a light, light heart I rove along. With a light, light heart I rove along.
Lanny?
Hi there.
When I was just a lad, you know, I met a gal from old Bordeaux. She had blonde hair and blue eyes too. Let me ride on the ring-dang-doo. And the ring-dang-doo, now what is that? It's soft and round like a pussycat. Got a hole in the middle and it's plain cute. That's what you call the ring-dang-doo. Took me down into her cellar, said that it was a mighty fine girl. Let me wine and whiskey too. Let me ride on the ring-dang-doo. The ring-dang-doo, now what is that?
It's soft and round like a pussycat. Got a hole in the middle and it's split in two. And that's what you call a ring-dang-doo.
Her father come in angrily said, now you have lost
your maidenhead.
Pack your bag and coat bags too.
Make your living off a ring-dang-doo. The ring-dang-doo. Now what is that? Soft and round like a pussycat. Got a hole in the middle and split in two. That's what you call a ring-dang-doo.
She went off to be a whore, hang a sign upon her door.
$1 each session, 3 for 2. Take a crack at the ring-dang-doo, the ring-dang-doo. Now what is that? Soft and round like a pussycat, got a hole in the middle and it's split in two. And that's what they call a ring-dang-doo. You're a dirty man.
Yes.
Are you having fun, Arthur?
Sure.
You don't look like so much fun, boy. That's your fucking hair down like a man. Hell, even old man Strauss is more of a laugh than you, boy.
Well, thank you, kid.
I'm sorry, Arthur. I didn't mean it. It's just because I care. You know, it's because I love you, Arthur. Really, it is.
Suddenly you seem much better, Marston.
Don't feel too... Doesn't to me.
Just when the drinks come out.
I am not made for land. It's too many angles. Man, me? I like a flat horizon. Wide and clear, little waves taking me south to paradise. Not a vicious blizzard, thick mud, railways, filthy towns, and any other hells we've encountered. Blackwater! Never was a place truer named, huh? I like blue water. Mm-hmm. Blackwater, you can keep that. Blue water.
Well, he's back.
As loud a mouth as ever.
Oh, you can talk?
Yep. It's just unnatural. All this land ain't natural at all.
story. I promise you.
Okay, Javier?
So what happened to Trelawney?
Disappeared, as usual. So your drinking pal's back? With a vengeance, it seems. Yeah, I'd forgotten how loud he was.
His pet? Yep. Like a dog or a cat. You're his favorite. Favorite? People care about that?
Sure. I mean, some do.
TP.
He's a fire. Oh, okay. No. That's not. There. No. Oh. Glide me in here a bit, will you? Oh, yes, yes. Oh, you're a lovely woman. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, that's it. Oh.
Don't love me.
Oh. Oh. There she blows. Oh, yeah. Oh. Away. Oh.
Will you two keep it down in there?
Shut it, Morgan. Hey, where are you going?
We're done, ain't we?
Well, we certainly are, darling. Oh.
What are you doing there, you old creep?